For episode 21 of No Oven, No Problem, I am making one of my favorite. In a bowl, add some curd along with half a teaspoon of baking soda. Give it a good mix and then add in the sugar followed by sunflower oil, some milk which is infused with saffron, a tablespoon of rose water and some yellow food color which is optional. Once it comes together, add in the sifted maida along with baking powder and cardamom powder. Your batter is ready. Transfer it into a heavy bottom saucepan lined with parchment paper. Place it onto another pan, cover it and cook it for about 50 minutes and then decorate it. Imagine a peanut butter pudding, a layer of chewy caramel, salted peanuts and chocolate on. Add a cup of milk into the saucepan with 3 tablespoons of sugar and some peanut butter and we'll cook it until it's all nicely combined. Now we'll add in a slurry made with corn flour and some more milk, and once the mixture thickens like this, let it cool and then fold it in a cup of whipped cream. This looks good. Transfer it into your serving dish, spread it out and top it with a layer of some caramel sauce. Let me know if you'd like this recipe. Some salted peanuts and chocolate ganache go on top and then refrigerate it until it sets complete. I love kesar and pista together, so on today's episode of No Oven, No Problem, start by adding saffron into hot milk and let it rest for about 10 to 15 minutes. Meanwhile, in a bowl, cream some softened butter with sugar and then add in half a cup of maida along with baking soda and the saffron infused milk. Once the dough comes together, refrigerate it, shape the cookies, coat them in pistachios, then cover and cook them in a flat pan for about 10 to 12 minutes. And there you go, your super delicious kesar pista. Welcome to another episode of No Oven, No Problem, and today without eggs, without maida and without oven. Start by creaming softened salted butter with some sugar and then add in some vanilla extract along with whole wheat flour, cocoa powder, corn flour, some baking soda and 2 tablespoons of milk. Once the dough comes together, shape it into really thin cookies and place an almond in the center. Cover and cook these in a pan with a stand, and within 10 to 15 minutes, your chocolate almond cookies are no eggs, no maida and no oven. This is episode 3 of No Oven, No Problem. Let's put salt into a cooker with a small stand, cover it and preheat it for 10 minutes. Now melt half a cup of butter with some dark chocolate, and once it cools down, add in the jaggery powder and some warm milk. Give it a good mix, and now in goes half a cup of atta along with some cocoa powder, and once your batter is ready, you could optionally fold in some milk chocolate chunks. Transfer this into a greased square dish, and once you add some more chocolate chips on top, cook it in your preheated cooker for about 25 to 30 minutes. Without eggs and without maida, on today's episode of No Oven, No Problem, let's make. Add salt and a stand in a cooker and preheat it for 10 minutes. Now start by mashing 1.5 bananas until they look like this. Now in goes the jaggery powder along with melted butter and hot milk. Give this a good mix, and now it's time to sift in the oats flour along with whole wheat flour, some cinnamon powder, baking powder and baking soda. Without overmixing, bring the batter together and then fold in some chocolate chunks. Add as much as you like. Transfer the batter into a loaf pan and cook it in the preheated cooker for about 40 minutes. This is so good. No maida, no eggs and no oven. This is episode 2 of No Oven. Finely ground suji into a bowl with sugar, yeast and salt along with half a cup of water, 3 tablespoons of milk and some oil. Give it a good mix before you rest it for at least 10 minutes. Then transfer it onto a greased surface and knead it really well for at least 15 minutes. Time to proof the dough for 1 hour, and once it doubles in size like this, punch it down, roll it out and shape it into a log. Once you transfer it into your loaf pan, time to rest it again, this time for 30 minutes. Then milk wash it, cover it in seeds and cook it in a preheated cooker with salt and a stand for 25 minutes. This is so good. I woke up craving for a big slice of this delicious Biscoff cheesecake, so let's make. Start by combining crushed biscuits of your choice with melted salted butter and give this a good mix. Arrange the same biscuits around the edges of a springform pan and the crushed biscuit mixture goes in the middle. Press it down, and for the filling, combine cream cheese with Biscoff spread and some sweetened whipped cream. This looks good. Transfer the filling onto the biscuit base and spread it out into an even layer. Refrigerate the cheesecake for at least 6 hours before you pour some melted Biscoff on top and enjoy your absolutely perfect no-bake cheesecake. This is so good. This delicious indulgent pudding has biscuits soaked in a cocoa syrup, a layer of luscious custard, and a crunchy crumble on top. On today's episode of No Oven, No Problem, without eggs and without a special mold, let's add salt, a stand, and a plate and let it heat for 10 minutes. Now in a bowl, let's combine sugar with 1/4 cup of melted salted butter. In goes half a cup of maida, cocoa powder, baking powder, and baking soda. Bring the batter together, then divide it between 2 greased katoris. Add a big chunk of covered chocolate in the center and then cook it in the preheated kadhai for 15 minutes on low to medium heat. Trust me, this is the only French toast recipe you will ever need. For episode 15 of I Milk Made It, you need is some bread, sandwich 2 slices with a generous amount of chocolate spread and set this aside. For the soak, you need some milk along with milk maid that will make this super delicious, indulgent and perfectly sweet. Add in the custard powder and this is ready. Now soak your sandwich in really well before you cook it until it's golden on all sides. Time to take it to the next level with a generous drizzle of some more milk maid on top. And don't forget to visit milkmaid.com. No added sugar, no maida and no eggs. For episode 18 of No Oven, No Problem, let's make dates chocolate cake. Preheat a cooker with some salt and a stand for about 10 minutes. Meanwhile, soak de-seeded dates in some hot milk and once the dates become soft, blend it into a smooth mixture and transfer it into a bowl. In goes another cup of milk and half a cup of sunflower oil. Give this a good mix. It's now time to add in some sifted atta along with cocoa powder, baking soda and baking powder. Once the batter comes together, transfer it into your baking pan, top it with some crushed walnuts and cook it in the preheated cooker. And this is so good.